Okay, so this is going to be a bit of a different video from what I normally make, but there has been something really bothering me recently around some of these media outlets who come up with the most ridiculous storylines to generate clicks on their websites. I'm talking about sites like Bleacher Report, The Ringer, Real GM, Bleacher Nation, hell, sometimes even ESPN. And look, I get it. It's a business, okay? The idea is to generate traffic to your site for more viewership, more subscriptions, which in turn produces more revenue. And normally I just tend to avoid these types of sites, especially when they're obviously coming up with these baiting type headlines. But when I saw the following headline on BleacherReport.com, I thought, okay, well, this is just so dumb. I have to click on it to see how ridiculous this is. So way to go, Bleacher Report, you got me. And then a few hours later, I had people messaging me on Instagram or in the Discord, hey, what do you think of these Otto Porter buyout rumors? And with all the responses back to the people that I was providing, I thought, okay, you know what? I need to make a video about this, not only to share my thoughts on these rumors, quote unquote, but also to call out the media and press who come up with these sorts of things. So what's going on, everyone? You're listening to Bull Central here. Hope you're all doing well. Guys, I am by no means an expert when it comes to basketball and the NBA. I mean, there's a reason I do this for fun, because it literally is just a hobby of mine and something I'm very passionate about, being a longtime Bulls fan, and I just like talking about hoops. So I don't want you to think that I'm implying I know more than analysts and media reporters who literally do this for a living. And to be fair, there are a lot of great reporters and analysts in this space. The Bulls beat writers is an example. Guys like Casey Johnson and Rob Schaefer, they are great. They put together thought-provoking articles that are interesting and very knowledgeable about the game and the business that is the NBA. So it bothers me when I see other news and media outlets put out articles like this one from The Ringer, which is where the Bleacher Report article actually led me to as its source for this piece of news. And literally this was the entire article, the article that kicked up all of these rumors about the Bulls looking to buy out Otto Porter's contract. It's so short that I can even read it to you. Otto Porter Jr. will be a free agent this offseason, and he could be bought out by the Chicago Bulls. Porter has only played in 45 games with the Bulls since they acquired him from the Washington Wizards in 2019 due to ongoing back issues. The Golden State Warriors are one team with interest in Porter, sources tell Kevin O'Connor of The Ringer. Leave it to Kevin O'Connor to come out with the laziest article and storyline that I'm almost certain was just made up, and I'll get into why in a little bit. Sources tell Kevin O'Connor. Of course, they never actually reveal their sources. They're a very credible source from their butcher at a local deli who overheard a conversation from his cousin. I mean, this is their job. They do this for a living. And this is the kind of stuff they come up with. You've got other reporters, media outlets who are actually putting in the work, studying the industry and knowing it well, doing their due diligence to come up with real, credible news and information. And then you have things like this, coming out with a little blurb that is barely longer than a tweet. They call it news and get paid to do it, and they're generally more popular for it as a result. Now, let me get into why this report of Otto and the Bulls agreeing to a buyout is so bad and just shows how little some of these writers actually know about the NBA and the game of basketball, something they're supposed to be doing for a living as their full-time job. So as a Bulls fan, I think we can all agree Otto Porter has been a huge disappointment from the moment we traded for him back in the 2018-19 season, which included Tomas Satoransky, while the Bulls sent Bobby Portis and Jabari Parker to the Wizards. And not disappointing because of his play. No, it's because of the lack of play. It's the fact that he can't stay healthy and be available on the court. Because Otto has actually been decent when he's available. With the Bulls in his over 45 games playing with them, he's averaged 13.7 points per game, shooting 46% from the field, 43% from three, averaging 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal per game. And Otto actually looked great to start the season before he yet again hurt himself. So like I said, we can all agree that Otto is not part of the Bulls' future. I'm sure most of us can't wait until his contract is off of the books. But here's what makes the concept of a buyout for Otto's contract absolutely no sense. I'm not sure if Kevin O'Connor did his research, but Otto is on an expiring contract. He will be a free agent this offseason, which will free a ton of cap space for the Bulls going into next season. Now, if Otto still had 1 or 2 seasons left on his deal, then yes, a buyout would make sense, especially given Otto is not a part of the Bulls' future. He's always injured anyway and on an inflated contract. And if they were to come to an agreement on buying out his deal to cut your losses and pay a player for not being on the team, and he gives a portion of that salary back and you can take it off your books, then yes, this would make sense for the Bulls in that instance. But with Otto's contract expiring in just a couple months, in an evaluation year for the new front office, what benefit does the Bulls organization have to gain from buying out Otto's contract? It's not like they're going to bring in other big name players on large contracts, so they need to be able to free up cap space just for this year. This isn't a Blake Griffin type situation who still had 2 years left on a massive contract where the Pistons needed to buy him out. Because Otto's contract is about to expire. You've essentially already paid him most of that salary. You know, what is a couple extra months going to do, and that's going to make a difference for that? Yes, the Bulls as an organization might save a little bit of money. You're talking maybe $5 million max, because you've already paid Otto half of his $28 million salary. You owe him roughly $14 million. You think Otto is just going to agree with taking anything less than $10 million in a contract buyout? There's zero incentive for him to do that. He's owed that $14 million. Why would he take anything less unless he's confident he could garner more as a free agent from another team, which I think even he himself knows is doubtful given his injury history. And on top of all of this, the buyout headline aside, the other thing that it's mentioned is that the Warriors would have interest. And it actually wasn't even just this article from The Ringer. Other outlets that I saw also mentioned the growing interest in Otto Porter from other teams, mainly teams who are in need of a wing player, which first of all, I don't know how some teams would have interest in Otto unless they saw him back in action and he was actually looking to be healthy. Not sure what team would want to just bring on a guy and pay him when he has no timetable for return and again on an expiring contract. But let's just say for the moment that the Warriors or other teams had interest in Otto. If that were the case, why would the Bulls front office be looking for a buyout opportunity? In that moment, you have some leverage to try and trade him for something, even if it's just a second round pick. Why would you rather buy him out, lose money, and still be paying him while he plays for another team, kind of like the Pistons are doing with Blake Griffin right now? You either see if you can get something of value for him, albeit minimal value via trade, or you let him ride out his contract, hope that he returns and can be a serviceable player off the bench for the Bulls, especially if they start making a playoff push. His contract expires and then you wish him the best of luck on his way out. And guys, I don't mean to sound like I'm so knowledgeable when it comes to basketball or that I know more than these reporters who do this as their job, because I really don't. I don't report on and discuss basketball for a living. It's not my area of expertise, and I'll admit it's possible there could be something I'm completely missing here and why it would make total sense for the Bulls to want to buy out Otto Porter, even if there is interest from other teams. And please enlighten me and let me know if I am off base on my assessment of this and if I'm completely missing something. And I will totally come on here and eat my words if in fact Otto gets bought out of his contract. I will come on here and admit, yes, I was wrong. Honestly, the only thing I can think of in why the Bulls would want to do this is to save a little bit of money, and it's a very little amount of money, relatively speaking, in terms of what the overall organization brings in, because they've basically already paid Otto his contract, and Otto and his agent are not just going to walk away from money that they are owed. And my hope is, and please tell me this isn't just a cheap move to save a couple of bucks for the Reinsdorfs. I really hope we've gotten past the cheap phase of the Bulls as a franchise, but you can never be too certain. Either trade him for minimal value if there is in fact interest in him, or you let him just play out his contract and hope he plays to finish out the season helping the Bulls make it to the playoffs. I want to hear what you guys think though. Is there validity to these rumors that Otto would be bought out of his contract? Or are you guys in the same boat as me and just scratching your heads trying to understand how this makes any sense for the Bulls? Let me know in the comments, and as always, be sure to subscribe if you're a Bulls fan as I post daily Bulls content. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and I will catch you in the next one.